Open the door. Compliance inspection. The pounding rattled my front door like a battering ram. 3 heavy knocks, a pause, then 3 more, each one louder, angrier, like they were daring me to ignore them. It was 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. Yeah, 11. No real cop or city inspector shows up at that hour, not unless the world's on fire, and certainly not in Willow Creek, Virginia. But that's how my night started. The night everything changed in this sleepy little cul-de-sac I thought I'd chosen for peace. I slid out of bed, bare feet catching on the cool hardwood, heart thumping like it already knew something was off. As I crept down the hall, the knocking kept up, steady and insistent, not like someone asking, but demanding, muscle behind it. I stopped at the living room window, peeled back the curtain, and there they were. 2 big guys in dark navy HOA police uniforms, stitched on patches, boots, tactical belts loaded up like they were headed to a riot, not a neighborhood with swing sets and soccer moms. Tattoos snaked down their forearms, thick black bands curling over muscles knotted with tension. One spun a pair of handcuffs around his finger, the click echoing under the porch light, all for show. The other flipped a clipboard, glancing at paperwork like he was prepping a charge sheet. And behind them, arms crossed, lips tight with that sharp, satisfied smile only the truly smug can pull off, Karen Whitmore. HOA president, Queen Bee, chief pain in my ass. No squad car, just a black SUV parked half on my lawn, hazards blinking. No badge I recognized, no radio static, no insignia. All props, no substance. The pounding came again, now with a voice. Sir, this is an official compliance inspection. Failure to cooperate is grounds for immediate arrest. Immediate arrest, right? I almost laughed. Instead, I reached for my jacket, fingertips grazing my wallet, feeling the familiar outline of my credentials, the plastic, the seal, the weight that came with 15 years in the FBI. They thought I was just another homeowner, easy mark for a power trip. They thought wrong. I twisted the deadbolt, savoring the sound. The porch light threw their shadows long and mean across the steps. You sure you boys want to do this tonight? I asked, letting just enough of my smile show. Vince, the tall one, thick beard, tattoos up his neck, gave me the stare you give someone at a bar before things get ugly. Brad, his partner, was stockier, buzz cut, a scar running jaw to ear, the type that probably came with a good story. Neither of them looked like real police, and behind them, Karen was practically glowing. Karen had ruled Willow Creek's HOA for 6 years. 6 years too long if you asked anyone with a working brain. She called herself a steward of community standards. Everybody else called her a bully with a clipboard, the kind who measured grass with a ruler and threatened fines for trash cans left out past noon. She thrived because most people were just tired or busy or didn't want the fight. She liked the power, and tonight, she brought backup. Daniel, you've ignored 3 citations, she said, her tone sweet as vinegar. Tonight, the board voted for immediate enforcement action. Sure, Karen. The board, or just you and your 2 renegades. If you want to know who I am, my name's Daniel Miller. 38. Born and raised in Ohio, dad a cop, mom a teacher. I chased organized crime, fraud rings, low-rent hustlers who used intimidation where authority failed. This wasn't new. What burned was that it was supposed to be my sanctuary, a place to get some peace, watch the trees sway at night, not get fake police pounding my door. But if there's one thing bullies hate, it's a target who doesn't blink. I stepped fully into the doorway, still brushing the edge of my badge inside my jacket. You and your boys give me 5 minutes, then we'll see who's in charge. Karen's smile faltered. Vince shoved a citation in my face. White paper, bold ink, threats in red letters about arrest and removal. Tell me something, Vince. Which academy did you graduate from? I asked. He flinched. Doesn't matter, he grunted. You're in violation. Pay up, or come with us. Brad cracked his knuckles. Karen wanted everyone to see, neighbors peeking out, watching if the new guy would fold. I took the citation, let it dangle, then handed it back. This isn't worth the paper it's printed on. Karen's mask slipped, just for a second. You don't get to decide that, Daniel. I leaned against the door like we were talking weather. Did you vote at a boardroom? Or just around your kitchen table with these 2? That's when I flipped my wallet open, badge gleaming in the porch light. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Special Agent Miller. You're impersonating law enforcement. which is a felony. And Karen, what you're running here looks a lot like organized extortion. Silence fell so fast you could hear the neighbor's wind chimes. For a moment, Vince stopped breathing. Brad looked like he wanted to bolt. Even Karen blinked, her confidence cracking. Now, you walk away quietly, or I make one phone call, and you spend the weekend in a holding cell, I said, voice low, steady. More porch lights flickered on, witnesses in pajamas. Karen's voice went shrill. Daniel, don't be dramatic. This is just neighborhood compliance. I snapped my badge closed. No, this is fraud. This is your last night running this show. Vince shifted, Brad muttered. The whole tough guy routine fizzled out. Move your SUV, get off my property, and tell your board if anyone else plays fake cop, they'll leave in cuffs. They slunk off, SUV headlights sweeping away, the quiet settling heavy, but I knew better than to think it was over. Karen wasn't done. The next few nights proved it. Her black SUV creeping down the street, blue and red strobes clipped to the dash, no tags, no plates, just intimidation on four wheels. It wasn't just me. Mr. Franklin down the block got fined for his flag. Tamara Lewis got a foreclosure threat for her garden. Fear spread quick. Some neighbors believed the uniforms, some just wanted trouble to pass them by. But I watched, documented. Every pass of the SUV, every citation, every threat, I logged it. One night, Tamara rang my bell, terrified, clutching a $500 fine and a foreclosure threat. I can't lose my home, Agent Miller, she whispered. Her kids hid behind her legs. I promised her nobody would lose anything while I was here. That night, I laid out every citation, every note. Patterns emerged. They were targeting the vulnerable, squeezing folks who couldn't fight back. I started digging. The Community Compliance Group was registered 6 months ago, a shell LLC. No license, no credentials, but the paperwork pointed straight to Karen. This was extortion, and Karen thrived on fear and silence. So I started knocking on doors. Franklin, Tamara, the Hendersons, folks who'd kept quiet. They opened up, stories pouring out. The real twist? Mr. Harris, who barely knew me, pulled me aside. You go after her. You won't stand alone. We've all had enough. By then I knew. This was bigger than citations. The next day, the SUV crawled by, Vince behind the wheel, flashing his phone like a badge. That night, the rumors started. Karen whispering I was unstable, dangerous, brought PTSD from the bureau. By Monday, the Richmond field office called me in, complaints, sworn statements, lies about me pulling a gun. Gregson, my boss, said, "You're off active cases till this clears." Karen had scored her first real hit, weaponizing my own badge against me. But I know how intimidation works. Isolate, pressure, break. I started collecting their lies, phony statements, bogus claims. Built a file, cross-referenced every text, every citation, dates, times, faces. Meanwhile, the neighborhood iced over. Folks who once waved now turned away. Even Max, my old Labrador, seemed anxious, ears pinned every time the SUV crawled past. One night, I watched Karen's lights flicker upstairs, shadows moving. Not just HOA politics. This was organized. They thought they'd break me. They forgot. If you push a guy who spent 15 years unraveling cons, he pushes back. I dug into DMV records, tracked the SUV, registered to Karen's shell company. No security license, no oversight. She'd written her own rules, then bullied the board into giving her the power to enforce them. The next step, evidence and witnesses. I talked to every victim. Franklin, the Hendersons, Tamara. Each citation, each threat added to the stack. But fear still held them back. Don't use my name. That was Karen's genius. She didn't need a gun. She had fear. Then, escalation. Vince tossed a fresh citation onto my lawn, stamped, "Final warning." That night, I knew. It was personal now. Court day came. The room jammed with neighbors. Karen strutted in, Vince close behind, attorney painting her as a saint, me as the menace. He abused his training, pressured witnesses, he said, waving fake citations like gospel. I stood, laid it out, fraud, intimidation, a fake police force running a protection racket. Alvarez, a real cop, stepped forward, presented evidence. SUV registration, bank transfers, video of Vince bragging about the boss lady. Gasps rippled. Tamara spoke, voice shaking. Franklin told his story, steady as a rock. The judge listened, then dropped the hammer. Authority suspended, pending charges for fraud and impersonation. I was cleared. Karen slumped. Vince cursed. Outside, Max greeted me on the steps, but Karen's eyes burned holes through my back as I left. She wasn't finished. For a few days, peace returned. Kids played outside, neighbors waved. Then the flyers started, anonymous attacks, rumors, threats. Lies spread, tires slashed, bricks through windows, a crow nailed to my fence. A message, gang-style. This wasn't HOA stuff anymore. Alvarez started a formal federal case. The intimidation ramped up, break-ins, threats, surveillance. My truck was torched, a letter slid under my door. 1 week, or people start bleeding. Kids first. I went on offense, connected the dots, tied the money trail through shell companies to a bigger fish, Redwood Development Group. Not just Karen. This was a statewide racket. I needed a smoking gun. Tamara, terrified but brave, brought emails, proof Karen answered to a shadowy financier, Leonard Brooks. I staged a meeting, wired up with hidden cameras, and caught Leonard, Vince, and Karen plotting on tape, talking about using fear as leverage, making examples. We busted them, Alvarez and I, backed by the feds. In the end, the courtroom was packed. Karen got 6 years in federal prison. Vince and the crew longer. Leonard cut a deal, but still went away. Tamara became the new HOA president, this time honest. We rebuilt. Potlucks, laughter, fences mended, folks looking each other in the eye again. But it never really ends. As neighbors celebrated, I found an envelope under my door. No return address, just my name, and inside, a black card embossed with an oak tree ring by stars. No note, just a warning. You know what I mean? Shadows don't go quietly. Justice isn't a finish line. It's a battle, and sometimes, all you can do is stand your ground and hope the next fight, when it comes, finds you and your neighbors ready. So what do you think? Did justice win out? Or is it all just a game of power and fear, no matter who wears the badge? Comment below. Tell me if you've ever tangled with a bully, a board, or a system that tried to break you. I want to hear your stories, your outrage, your ideas. Is there ever real justice in a world of HOAs and hidden bosses? Or are we all just playing defense in our own neighborhoods? Let's talk about it, because trust me, these stories are far from over.